Welcome to the Box Office Dynasty. This is our new podcast. I'm Josh,
I'm Jack.
and we've been sitting on this one in the planning stage for far too long, but we have finally made it after
Yeah,
an ancient amount of time.
it's
We're
been a
very
while.
excited. We don't know. This could end up being a huge success. This could be the biggest failure. We could be super embarrassed and go hide under a rock for the rest of our lives. We'll have to see what happens, but we're very excited. So basically what this is going to be about is we're going to talk about all the latest in film, in television, anything in the entertainment industry. We'll go over weekly box office numbers. We'll talk about anything that's going on in life right now. And we're going along for a ride here, and we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, man. I think so. We should just get into our first segment. We need to get to know each other, right? I mean, everybody is, of course, we're new to this. Everybody's new to this. Like, nobody knows what the hell's going on. So, our first segment, I've seen. So, there's this podcast that I've watched. It's called the Escape Pod Podcast. They're great. Go check them out. They make, movies, TV shows, comic books. They're big comic guys. They do this segment called Hot Seat where they interview each other real quick in like the first 5 minutes of the episode. They question each other. They just throw like random questions at each other, rapid fire. So we're gonna do something similar to that, but we're gonna call it Taking the Stand. Okay. So we're rebranding it, so it's not the same exact thing. So we're gonna take the stand. We're gonna put each other on the stand, and we're gonna ask each other some questions so we can get to know each other. You and I know each other very well, but
Yeah, but no one else knows who we are.
the audience
So
doesn't know
if
us.
if if people catch wind of this somehow and they're saying, "Who are these two doofuses?"
Yeah, these two
Now they'll know a
nerds,
little more
bro.
about us.
Exactly. So I have some. We'll take what, like 2.5 minutes each. We'll just ask each other some questions. We'll see where we stand. I'm gonna start. Okay.
I'm
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 gonna ask
I'm
you,
ready.
Josh. I'm gonna ask you some questions. Okay. Just to get to know you, I'm gonna start a timer. Actually, let me do that. Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready to take the
I'm as ready
stand?
as I can be.
Okay. Question number one. What is your favorite movie of all time?
It's a tough one. That's a really tough one. I know it's supposed to be rapid, but I mean, I could sit here forever. But I'll say Interstellar. I love
Interstellar.
Interstellar by Christopher
Okay.
Nolan. It's a masterpiece.
Okay, I love that. What is, if you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would that meal be?
You know, my dad makes a pretty mean chicken dish, and it's got like corn and everything, and it's just I could eat that every day for the rest of my life and be happy.
Really? Is that
It,
good?
yeah. Oh man, you should come over and try it sometime.
Damn, bro. All right,
It,
can I get an invite? Come
it
on.
is like if Michelin was given our house like a star rating, they would give it a
Damn.
5 star.
All right, all right. What? And I have a couple of hot takes. I mean, I just said that this other podcast calls them hot takes, so like whatever. But like, what is your biggest, or you think is like your biggest hot take of anything in life?
Well, I don't know if this is my biggest hot take of anything, but it is probably one of my biggest film hot takes. And that is that I've always thought two, not one, but two of the most popular films of all time I find very boring and overrated, which is
Yeah.
incredible to say because they have inspired some really great films in the years since.
What?
But 2001 A Space Odyssey
Never seen
and
it.
Rosemary's Baby.
I've never seen
Uh,
either of those, bro.
yeah, Stanley Kubrick and Roman Polanski.
Oh,
Yeah, I just not a fan. I've seen him. I've only seen Rosemary's Baby once. I've seen 2001 a couple times. I try. I just fall asleep. I just
I've
can't.
heard I've heard that about Space Odysseys that people don't like it as much as they like are told that they should like it.
But you know what's crazy about it is one, it has inspired a lot. I mean, it's the one scene at the beginning with all the apes and everything with the bones, and it's supposed to represent. Well, you haven't seen the
No,
movie,
I
but
don't know. What are you
anyone
talking
out
about?
there
Planet of the Apes, bro? I
who
don't know.
has seen the movie, where the scene at the beginning where they're kind of throwing the bones up in the air and it represents this like evolution of man. I mean, if you've seen Barbie, I know you've seen Barbie. They do
Love
it at the
Barbie.
beginning with the dolls.
Oh, really?
And that's
with
inspired.
the I know the music.
Yes, the music that's
Yeah.
inspired. That's from 2001: A Space Odyssey. So I mean, there is obviously takeaways from the film that have done a lot of great in the industry over the years. But just to me personally, I couldn't really get through them.
Who right now would you say is your favorite musical artist
Ooh,
at this moment in time?
well, I mean, historically, I'm a Beatles fan, but more current. I've been loving Kendrick Lamar. Obviously, that's a popular one. He's been all over. I love Billie Eilish.
Cedric.
Billie. Oh boy, and Kendrick Lamar actually is working on a movie with the creators of South Park that is supposed to come out, I think, later this year.
Animated or
So,
no?
I'm not sure. And it's not a South
Ooh.
Park movie, but it is a collaboration.
It's got to be a comedy too, right? There's no
Oh,
way
I'm
it's not.
sure it's a
There's
comedy,
no
but
way it's
yeah, I
not.
don't know much about it, but I have heard of it.
Okay, that's pretty
So that's
cool.
something to keep an eye on. But also Billie Eilish. I'm a big Billie Eilish fan lately.
I'll throw a couple. I'll throw like two more at you. Um. Oh, you mentioned Billie Eilish. My brain goes to Invincible immediately. Like that, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen the Invincible finale because it's still kind of recent. But a Billie Eilish song plays. What is, in your opinion, the best TV show of all time? Or I mean, it's different, but your favorite TV show of all time, I guess I'll say. Because those are two different answers. So I'll say your favorite TV show of all time.
Well, I generally go by there's a big three, and I think
Okay.
that they're
Can I guess your big three?
yeah,
Breaking Bad is in your big three.
yes,
These are TV shows you've seen, right?
well, yes,
Okay, so Breaking Bad's in your big three. I'm gonna say Better Call Saul.
no,
Breaking Bad. Is any Mike Flanagan in there?
no.
Oh my God! Wait, big and you haven't seen Game of Thrones?
Yeah, that's my big. I know a lot of people out there are going to say, "What? Oh my God, yes." I did not get into it at the time.
That's a surprise to a lot of people. What
I'm
do you
very
think?
behind.
Your big three. All right, give me one of them. Give me the other one.
The Sopranos.
Oh, Sopranos. Okay. Breaking Bad, Sopranos, and uh The Wire?
I've never seen The Wire.
Oh no. Okay, I'm lost.
My
I don't know.
last one is Succession.
Oh, okay.
Big, big, massive fan of that show. It
I'm
is.
surprised you didn't say Severance.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if I can really put Severance in my big three when it's just, it's still in the middle
It's
of,
too
of
early.
it's too early. It's great. I mean, it is a phenomenal show. Obviously, props to Ben Stiller and Adam Scott and everybody involved in that.
Yeah.
I know you haven't seen it yet, Jack. I highly recommend it. Season 2 just wrapped up last week, and it was one of my favorite season finales I've seen in some time. So all the praise in the world to Severance. But Succession, The Sopranos, and Breaking Bad. And shout out, it's a different kind of show, but shout out Saturday Night Live celebrating its 50th anniversary. That is always going to be one of my favorite shows on television. It's not the same kind of show, but it's TV nonetheless. So
That's a great. I mean, yeah, you got to shout out SNL. My last question to you, because this is way over 2.5 minutes, by the way. But my last question to you is gonna be a question you're probably familiar with, knowing you, is if you could have dinner with any person that you've never personally met, so you can't be like, my grandfather or something. Any person that you've never personally met, dead or alive, and you just have a nice steak dinner with them, who you picking?
I'm going to take any of the great legendary filmmakers. Give me Alfred Hitchcock. Give me Akira Kurosawa.
Well, wait, but if you're picking one, are you picking Hitchcock? You gotta narrow it down.
I'll take Hitchcock. I think there's something
Wow.
about, when you get these kinds of questions, I think there's something about like someone who's not with us anymore and just that inability to actually be able to pick their brain makes it all the more enticing to choose. He was the master of suspense. No one did it better, so I'll go Hitchcock.
Listen, I think you and I are like, there's an irony to this because the way you're dressed right now is like, I'm the comic book guy, okay? I'm the guy who's read so many comics. I love comics. I love superheroes, everything. Of course, you do too. You've read some. You love them. But you're the film guy, and if we had to designate, I don't even know what Alfred Hitchcock has directed. If I were to guess, I'd say Clockwork Orange. Is that correct? Fuck. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say fuck on this. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. It's Stanley Kubrick.
So I have no idea what Hitchcock has directed. I'm more of a, hey, what Marvel movie are you watching this week? You know, hey, there's a new Marvel out.
Well, you know what? I feel like we're both able to kind of lean across the aisle a little bit too.
Yeah, dude.
Obviously, there's been this idea that they can't coexist. I mean, you have Martin Scorsese's comments in the past calling it roller coaster cinema, theme park cinema. I think that there's a world where you can get really like gritty, artistic, indie films, and you can also get these big blockbuster Marvel-y superhero things, and we can enjoy both. And
wait, who'd you say? You said, what was your guy name?
What?
What was your guy that you just said that you would eat dinner with?
Hitchcock.
Hitchcock. What is he? Space Odyssey?
No, that is also Kubrick.
Who is he? What does he do?
He did.
Give me a movie.
I'll give you Psycho, Rear Window, Vertigo, Rope, whole bunch. Rebecca, Dial M for Murder, North by Northwest.
Yeah, we know you're the film guy, all right?
The Birds, that's a weird one. But
all I know is Psycho and I think Vertigo, and I've never seen either of them. I've never seen a Kubrick. Wait, did you say Kubrick? Fuck, who are you saying?
Let's move on.
Why do I keep... Wait. Oh, no, Hitchcock.
We're going to quickly rapid fire. We're going to put you on the stand now.
Put me on the stand.
We're going to put you on the stand now before there's no time left for any stand.
This is going to be a mess.
All right. I'll rapid ask. Some are going to be similar questions. A few will be different. First things first, your favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie of all time is Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic Park. I think it's amazing, and I think dinosaurs are so cool, and nobody can do it like Jurassic Park.
Another one coming out this year, Scarlett Johansson taking over the franchise.
It looks like the best one in years.
We'll see.
I don't want to put too much hopes on it, but it looks awesome.
Fingers crossed. All right, your favorite actor of all time. Or actress. Favorite actor.
Ooh. Okay. Can we separate art from the artist?
Sure.
Because I am going to say right now, I know he's not a good person. I know he's not great, but I think he's not my favorite. I'm trying to narrow down favorite, but I'm going to say right now, someone who I think is a great actor is Shia LaBeouf.
Okay.
I think he's a fantastic actor. He looks like a psycho in real life. You know who's also a great actor and one of my favorites? I can't really say favorite for sure, but one of my favorites is Jon Bernthal.
Yeah.
Jon Bernthal, he's in Wolf of Wall Street. First of all, The Punisher itself is like insane, but I was first introduced to him in season 1 of The Walking Dead in like 2012 or something, and he was amazing. And spoiler alert for The Walking Dead, came out 15 years ago. He like becomes a bad guy in season 2, and he's like the second main character in that, and then he dies in season 2. Like, he is so good. He gets killed off in the second season, and he's still like the most memorable character.
And you know what? It's a show you haven't seen, but he's in, and he has limited screen time in this because he's not a main character. But when he's in it, he's commanding the whole thing. Is the Bear? He's in the Bear.
So I've watched a little bit of The Bear, and he's been my consistent favorite. Like, this is the thing about, you're right, like, he controls the screen. Every time he's in it, he is in charge of the screen. He demands the audiences to look at him. And he's not asking, he's demanding. Like, he just does his thing, and everyone's like, I want to know what this guy's about. Bro, we'll talk about Daredevil a little bit later. Like, he has one scene, and he's amazing. Well, all right, move on. I'm going to go on a tangent right now.
Your favorite hobby outside of film and television?
I'm big on, right now, I go to school right now for, everyone who doesn't care. I go to I'm like all I do in my free time is either watch movies, watch TV, or write papers and like do research. But when I'm not doing that, I'm playing Marvel Rivals. Like I love Marvel Rivals so much. It's like my favorite game right now. It's so good. I main Doctor Strange. I think a lot of people like Doctor Strange. I'm not saying I main like Bucky or anything. Like people hate Bucky, or I'm not maining Penny Parker. She sucks. I main Doctor Strange, so like that's respectable, and I need everyone to recognize that. That Marvel Rivals. That's my hobby right now when I'm not doing work or hanging out with my girlfriend, of course.
Hey, it's
Or sometimes I
that.
hang out with her and I just play Marvel Rivals anyway. So what are we gonna do? Yeah.
Okay, I'll get two more. Um, your favorite, or not your favorite, I should say, your most anticipated upcoming movie in 2025, and the rest of the year, I should say.
Uh, I think the answer has to be Avengers Doomsday is not 2025, right?
No,
Then I have to say Superman.
that's fair.
I I think let me ask you this real quick before you do your last question. Do you think Superman has more pressure on it than Avengers Doomsday does to be successful?
Yes, because Avengers Doomsday is going to make a lot of money no matter what, because there has not been a single Avengers film that has made under $1 billion yet. I would be surprised if this one does not do the
Age
same.
of Ultron made $1 billion.
If it didn't, it came real close. Yes, they. I'm pretty sure it made over $1 billion.
Do you think that Superman has the most pressure to succeed than any superhero movie in the last 10 years, couple years at least? Like, what could possibly have more pressure than like starting a universe this late?
It's not even just starting a universe. It's that there's been, obviously failed attempts with Warner Bros. To really get a good DC
Yeah, it's like
universe and
reviving.
Zack Snyder's vision with the DCU didn't really, pan out. Obviously, with some circumstances just beyond control.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of pressure because if Superman flops, I think a lot of people at Warner Bros. Who are already kind of skittish because they've lost money in some other projects, and obviously there's the whole Coyote Acme situation and the Batgirl situation, and they like Warner Bros. Just took Looney Tunes entirely off of Max, so there is definitely some wheels turning over there, and if Superman doesn't do well, which is kind of the one they're really banking on this year, there's going to be questions. And so, yeah, there's a lot of pressure for them to
I
be able to make that work.
I agree. That's my most anticipated of this year. I trust James Gunn, but I don't know how I feel about this. Like I know he can make a good movie, so I don't know. We'll see. That's my most anticipated though.
My last question to you, you shot it to me, I'll shoot it back. Your biggest hot take.
My biggest hot take, and you know this. I mean,
I
like
don't agree.
you and I know each other, so we know each other's takes on a lot of things. My biggest hot take is that I despise mac and cheese. I think mac and cheese is disgusting. Pasta should not have melted cheese on it. Like I love mozzarella on pasta, and that's it. That's the only cheese that should be melted on pasta. American cheddar, whatever the hell you guys are doing with mac and cheese, no, it should not be on there. Okay, no mac, no cheese for me. I like pasta. I like cheese, not together. I despise it. I hate it. Least favorite food.
Wow, that's a hot take. It's
I know, and
very hot.
people are gonna hate me for that. Mac and cheese is disgusting, and also I eat like a 4 year old. I eat like a 17, I don't know why I said 17. I eat like a child. Okay, I eat like a genuine child. I love chicken fingers. I love chicken nuggets. I love pizza. I'll go to a diner. I'm getting chicken fingers and honey mustard, bro. What are you kidding me? But mac and cheese, bro? No,
Yeah,
I
I
ain't
think
eating
we
that.
just had a few people turn off the podcast.
Yeah,
Think
yeah.
this,
Well, hey, you're not here to hear food
this is not the
recommendations.
place for me.
Yeah, man.
Uh, well, all right. So, on that note, I think we're going to transition into the next topic today. we're the Box Office Dynasty. So obviously, I think it's pretty pertinent that we go over the box office numbers every week because they're the relevant new movies out. We've seen some of them. We could talk about what's happening in the news. So box office, for anyone who doesn't know out there, they measure it by weekends. Movies almost exclusively always come out on Fridays, and they measure it from its weekend success, opening to the first, second, third, fourth, and so on. So of this past weekend, the March 21st to 23rd, the top five, Snow White in its opening weekend came in about a little over $42 million from Disney. In second place, Black Bag, directed by Steven Soderbergh, came in at about $4.2 million. That's its second weekend, so it's down about 44% from the opening weekend. Captain America, Brave New World, third place, 29.3% drop at just over 4 million. Novocaine is fourth with 3.6 million. That is in its second weekend, 58.2% drop. Mickey 17 rounds out the top five, about 50.5% drop in its third weekend of release at $3,600,000. So there's obviously a lot of movement here. A lot of interesting movies. I mean, it's that time of year, of course, where it's not exactly award season, but the big one in the news, Snow White from Disney, another live action movie. I haven't seen it, a remake, of course, because personally, I just don't really, IMDb, I saw this online. IMDb, it's apparently on there, the worst rated movie of all time. And I don't believe that. Like, look,
No.
With these live action remakes, they're all one and the same. But to call it the worst of all time feels disingenuous. I haven't seen it. You've seen it, of course.
Yeah, listen, I saw it last weekend. On IMDb, what is that, like a 1.9 or something like that?
It was like 1.7, something.
It's like below a 2. It is nowhere near that bad. I'm not a fan. I don't like it. Okay, but I think it's getting review bombed or something. Like to give it below a 2. I personally give it. I gave it a 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. Follow me, Jack Maloney at Letterboxd. Okay, I gave it 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. It's a 5 out of 10. Okay, it's very middle of the ground. There were genuinely some good things about it, and some bad things. I'm not even gonna get into all the background. Like, I don't even know about all the background politics about it. But Gal Gadot cannot act. Okay, she's easily the worst part of that movie. Ignore her. She's not in it as much as I thought she was gonna be when I first started watching it. So whatever. Rachel Zegler, amazing as always. Her scenes with the dwarves are continuously the best scenes in the movie. I'll tell you right now, I only cared about 3 scenes in the entire movie. I only gave a shit about 3 scenes. And not like the other scenes were bad, I just didn't care about them. I don't care about the characters, I don't care about what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. The 3 scenes I cared about, not really spoilers, but I'll say it anyway, just because it's all stuff that's in the original that came out 100 years ago. So, I'll just say it right now. The 3 scenes I cared about, the first one is the dwarves mining in the mines and singing Hi-Ho. They sound great. I think they're probably on par with the original song, I mean, a lot of times with these Disney remakes, the original easily tops the remake. Mm-hmm. But in this case, the original and the remake are pretty on par. And then the other scene is when Rachel Zegler's Snow White is teaching Dopey how to whistle, and they start singing about cleaning in the house. It's
Whistle While You Work.
Whistle While You Work. It is so good.
Great song.
It is so good because Rachel Zegler is so much better than the original of Snow White. Her singing that with the dwarves is actually so genuinely good. I forgot that I was watching a shitty movie. I watched that. I went literally as I was watching, I was like, "This movie's awesome." So that one scene is the best scene in the movie, and it's the last couple minutes. And then the next scene is, of course, everyone knows, spoiler again, that Snow White eats the poison apple and dies. You know, she faints. She falls ill, and Grumpy is he's kind of a bitch the whole movie. He's grumpy. That's like his whole thing, and he tears. And that is the third best scene of the whole movie, and that is the end of all the best scenes in the movie. The rest of it is kind of meh. You could forget about it. So it's not worth a 1.7 or whatever it is on IMDb. I give it a 5 out of 10. I think it's worth a watch at some point. I don't know if I'd say go see it in theaters. I mean, if you're an A-list member like us, I'd shoot a shot. You know, I'd go check it out. But like, I don't know. To review bomb it and say like it's the worst movie of all time, the worst remake of all time is ridiculous. It's fine. It exists and it's okay.
And you know, I think that I mean, a lot of the review bombing, it doesn't even just come from a place of, you know, artistic criticism, which is fair. I think it comes from a more just personal place for a lot of people online and a lot of toxicity online. I think that there is a real trend with these Disney live action remakes casting young women in lead roles and then scapegoating them and leaving them out to dry when the film doesn't work, when in reality the film didn't work for a whole laundry list of other reasons. Like Rachel Zegler is getting a lot of hate online. She's doing so because she took a political stance. She took one that, in my opinion, wasn't even really controversial. And especially considering her co-star and just the sensitivity of the whole situation, she's getting a lot of hate. I've seen a lot of people take some really uncalled for shots at her and blaming her for the movie losing money. I mean, look, Gal Gadot not very good at this acting thing, and
Pick a new
the
hobby.
movie just is directionless and artless, and clearly just does not. You know, it's just yet another one of this slop content that Disney wants to churn out instead of, you know, like look at number 2 on the box office this week, Black Bag, coming in at its second weekend. I mean, not a lot of people know this, but Steven Soderbergh, this is a guy who's pretty well respected in the industry. He did the Ocean's 11 movies. You know, this is an original film with Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender. It's about 2 like spies who are married, who are pitted against each other. I mean, you know, that's like, yeah, that's the kind of stuff people want to see. And sure, it didn't make a ton of money, but it's, you know, not marketed. It doesn't have that same kind of backing that a Snow White does, obviously. I just think it's been really unfair to her. Rachel Zegler is a immensely talented actress. She was phenomenal in West Side Story. She is going to be starring in Evita in the West End in London coming up. But she does not have a whole lot of movie roles lined up that I know of, and she should. She absolutely should.
Let me ask you this. Timothy Chalamet, huge star, right? Great guy. I mean, looks like it. I don't know. I never met him.
You know him personally?
I never met him. Him and I, we get beers on
Maybe
Fridays.
he'll be on the podcast.
Yeah, well, he'll be our first guest on the podcast. No, he's. I don't know why I said that. Okay, Timothy Chalamet. Do you think Rachel Zegler is the female, like, equivalent to Timothy Chalamet, or is it like Zendaya, or who is it? Who is the female, like Timothy Chalamet? This up and coming star is like a great actor. Who is the female equivalent of him at his age?
Well, it is Zendaya. It's certainly not Rachel Zegler. I mean, she has the talent, I think, but she does not have. I mean, you look at Timothy Chalamet's filmography. He's not even 30. He's been in like 7 to 10 Best Picture nominated films already.
Oh God!
You know, he's in the Dune franchise. He was in Little Women. He was in Lady Bird. He was just Bob Dylan in A Complete Unknown. He's got Marty Supreme coming out this year, another film I'm very excited about.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, it's with Josh Safdie, directed by Josh Safdie. It's an adaptation, I believe, of a book. I'm not 100% sure, but it's coming out at the end of the year. It looks like they're priming it for an awards run. So, I mean, Zendaya is the closest comp if you look at her upcoming work. She is
Yeah,
going next year. She's going to be in the Odyssey. She's going to be in
that's
Spider-Man
killer.
4. She's
Yeah,
going to be in Shrek 5.
and she has
She has
Dune, of
she has
course.
she has Dune Messiah. She has Euphoria season 3 currently in production.
And in
Um,
the past, she has the Dune. She has Greatest Showman. She has a lot of great stuff.
and I just read the other day that she was handpicked by Ronnie Spector to play her in a biopic about herself before Ronnie Spector died. And
Who's
so
Ronnie
now,
Spector?
yeah,
What? What?
that coming. Ronnie Spector was a singer, and she was part of a group for a long time in the '60s. So Zendaya will be playing her in an upcoming biopic. Actually, the thing about Ronnie Spector is she was in an abusive relationship, and there's a whole crazy story there. So
Is she a
um,
singer I would know? Like, what? Who is she? Like, American or no?
yeah, she's American.
Oh,
Well,
in a band or like herself?
yeah, no, she had a group. I think it was the Ronettes with it was from the '60s, but
Yeah, I know everything. Everything in the
but
'60s is a stupid name.
she with I think it was like her sister and her cousin. I mean, don't fact check me on that because I could be wrong, but
Mm.
she was immensely talented. She was a phenomenal voice and talent with a sad story. But
Yeah.
Zendaya will be playing her in a biopic, and Ronnie picked her herself. So Zendaya is going to be very, very busy coming up soon here in the next year or so. She's definitely the equivalent.
And challengers too. Like
Yeah, I mean,
A Zendaya nomination would not be a surprise to me, but also a Rachel Zegler nomination. It would only be a surprise to me, not based on talent, but based on work she's in.
an Oscar nomination.
Yeah,
Well,
I would
we'll
not be
see.
surprised if
I
she's.
don't know what the Odyssey's role in the Oscars is going to be. It's I believe a July release next year.
I'm
I'm not
sure it's
sure.
heavy though.
I'm sure. I mean, Oppenheimer came out because usually when you want to prime a movie for award season, it comes out November or December. Um, but
Yeah.
but Oppenheimer came out in July of 2023
What?
and did a near sweep of so many categories in the Oscars that year. So um, I think the Odyssey, I think Chris Nolan is able to just kind of trump all of that in a way.
Yeah, he is kind of his own realm of director. Like he can just do what he needs to do, and he gets the recognition for it.
And I think he's one of the last few directors that we have that actually really, like you said, gets ownership over his work, how he does it, how he films, what he's making. I think, that's something that's really lost. And I think this is a great segue into our next topic here about, filmmakers and their kind of control over their final cut compared to like a studio's butting in. Paul Thomas Anderson, they just released the trailer for his new movie, One Battle After Another, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. It is slated to come out in September. And it looks really good. We both watched the trailer just before we started this podcast, and it
Hmm.
looks really good. I mean, this guy made There Will Be Blood. He made Boogie Nights. He made Punch Drunk Love. He made Phantom Thread. He is an Oscar-winning filmmaker, and
I've,
yet you have the studio here. Who is it that is making it? I think it's actually Warner Bros. Who is
it's Warner
producing
Brothers, yeah.
it. Yeah, Warner Bros. Is producing the film. And obviously, like I mentioned before, they had a lot going on, and they're kind of hesitant. He agreed to a test screening. He hadn't had any of his films test screened since Boogie Nights, which is his second film. It came out in like 1999. It was his second ever movie, feature film. And he agreed to it because it was a like $130 million plus budget. So it's a large budget for this kind of film. And Warner Bros. Doesn't want to just toss the money in the trash. Okay. And there's a Variety report that came out that said that there's been a lot of back and forth between him getting say on the final cut and the studio. And, and if Paul Thomas Anderson can't get final say on the cut of his movie, what hope do lesser known filmmakers have for actually executing their vision?
I mean, that is something that bothers me so much is when there's like a director's cut of a movie. Like I like it because the director can actually show their vision, but what is the point of having this director make this movie and not be able to make what they want. Like, and it never ends well for the studio. I mean, anything, like, I know we just talked about, like, you're the cinema guy, I'm, like, the superhero guy. Like, anything superhero related, every time there's a director's cut, it's 10 times better than the actual version of the movie, and the studio suffers because they don't trust the director. I'm assuming it's very similar for, like, you know, an intense film like this. Like, I would assume that if you don't trust your director enough to make this movie the way they want to make it, like, your film is going to suffer.
I just think that, because people can come back and argue, well, it's a business and these are companies that need to turn a profit. But for starters, then you got, companies, studios like Netflix dumping $320-30 million into the Russo brothers' electric state. I mean,
Bro, don't even get me started.
you're absolutely burning money at that point. I don't know where it's going.
I couldn't even get past the first 20 minutes of that movie.
But, it's just where they have a vision, and I get that there needs to be compromise, and there's always going to be film left on the cutting room floor. It's always going to happen. When they film movies, they sometimes have 6, 8, 10 hours of footage for certain movies. So yeah, lots of things get cut, but that's part of the process. And I feel like we have lost the ability to straddle the line of working for profit in this industry and working for art. And I feel like we just in general live in a society that does not value art in that way anymore. In a way where people can make a living off of it, where people can actually express themselves. I mean, we live in pretty volatile times. We live in just politically, socially, economically, and art is a reflection of the world around us. And so, if we can't use that platform to, show how we feel about the world around us and to tell the stories that are relevant to us now in this time in history, and we don't get the say, and filmmakers, they don't get the say in what that story is going to look like and sound like and be like for the audience, what hope is there? Like, if PTA can't, what hope is there for up and coming filmmakers trying to get their way into the industry and get their foot in the door? There's no hope.
Well, so that leads me into something. We could go back to Paul Thomas Anderson in a second. Something that I'm more familiar with is, I don't know if you heard this actually, is that Daredevil episode, I think it's 4, and spoilers for people who haven't seen Daredevil episode 4, the Punisher shows up at the end. That scene is incredible. Daredevil episode 4, Punisher and Daredevil talking is incredible, but apparently the introduction of John Bernthal's Punisher was changed because John Bernthal did not like the script, and he refused to join that show because he did not think it fell in line with the character. And I don't know what the original script was for that episode, but he refused, from what I've heard, to join. He refused to join the show at all because their original introduction of that character into this new show was so, like, abysmal to the character in his eyes. And I trust him in this view of the character that he refused to join it, and they eventually made something that he accepted as something that the character would sound like and act like, and be like, that he accepted it and he went with it. So, like, that's similar in the case that, like, he had this sort of creative freedom to be able to say what is right and wrong for this character, and I think that's similar in the way that you're talking about Paul Thomas Anderson, and, like, you have this freedom that's sort of being denied in certain senses of what is right and wrong for certain characters or certain sequences or stuff like that.
It reminds me of a story. So I mentioned Barbie earlier when we talked about 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's a scene in Barbie when Barbie and Ken are in the real world. Mm-hmm. And she's sitting on Margot Robbie, she's sitting on that bench next to that old lady. And, she turns to her and she starts crying. Barbie starts crying, and the old woman asks what's wrong. And Barbie looks at her, and she's older and she's wrinkled, and time has flown through her. And Barbie goes, you're beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And the older woman goes, I know it. And that to me was one of the most impactful scenes in the movie, because that to me was what the whole movie was about.
Yeah, she was bad as hell. That old lady was bad as hell.
uh, and I read that Warner Bros. Wanted to cut that scene out. They said, "Well, they went to Greta Gerwig and they said, what's the point of this?"
That's insane.
And she said, "Well, it's the whole thing. I can't have the movie without that scene. That scene is the heart of the film. The film, it's about these beauty standards and these gender roles and being comfortable looking and being who you are. And that scene carries that message more visually, more blatantly than I think any other scene in that movie does. And they wanted to cut it. And I think, and that goes on to what we were saying before. Look at also, you mentioned Daredevil and Captain America. These are a TV show and a movie that went through multiple rewrites, multiple reshoots. And that to me is red flags. And yes, I've been enjoying Daredevil, but it's still red flags, because
Yeah.
if you don't actually have a story to tell, why are you bothering to do it?
I can't believe, first of all, Warner Brothers is like, I mean, they produce such great stuff, but they also have shown time and time again that they're just like clueless in their own industry. Like, I think it's so like they have no idea what they're doing half the time, but somehow they give good content. And like, I mean, I don't know, Warner Brothers, give me like $1 billion and I'll refute that statement. I don't know. Like, I'll take it back if you give me $1 million. I don't know, but
Yeah,
like,
I know someone through someone who works for Warner Bros. Actually. So,
yeah. Wait, tell them to watch this. I'll take it back.
um, yeah, so we'll segue now. We're talking a bit about Marvel. So on a different note here, Marvel recently announced its first slate of its cast for Avengers Doomsday, slated to come out in 2026.
Yeah.
I know that we both had a lot of thoughts about, who they announced, how they announced it. It was interesting.
So for anyone watching this who hasn't seen the announcement, I'm just gonna go through the list of who was announced. Okay. Um, so this is the order of who was announced and who they're playing. So first we start off with Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Vanessa Kirby as the Invisible Woman, Anthony Mackie as Captain America, Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier, Letitia Wright as Black Panther, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, Wyatt Russell as U.S. Agent, Tenoch Huerta Mejia as Namor, Ebon Moss-Backrack as The Thing, Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, Florence Pugh as Yelena, Kelsey Grammer as Beast, Louis Pullman as Sentry, Danny Ramirez as the Falcon, Joseph Quinn as the Human Torch, David Harbour as the Red Guardian, Winston Duke as M'Baku, Hannah John Kamen as Ghost, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier, Ian McKellen as Magneto, Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, Rebecca Romaine as Mystique, James Marsden as Cyclops, Channing Tatum as Gambit, Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, and finally Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom. Who in this slate, this lineup, stands out to you? What do you think of this? How you feeling?
Well, I'll start by saying this. I don't think it was necessary for them to do a 5-hour live stream.
I
I
watched all
mean,
of it.
you sat for 5 hours.
I was in class, or I was at school. Like I was working at school, so I was like doing work and stuff. And I logged in at 11 a.m. and like I was doing work on my computer, but every 15 minutes I was looking at my phone and be a new name. But like to give a new name every 15 minutes is ridiculous.
The thing is realistically, and it's funny, but it's like there's truth to it. Some of those chairs will have more screen time during that announcement than their characters will in the actual movie. I will bet on that.
You're so right, bro. Like also some of them we knew like it's so obvious who was gonna be in this movie. Like of course I knew that half these people were gonna be in it. And then the other half is just like spoilers for cameos and other movies that they have.
Right, and I feel like one, they didn't even announce some of the major players: Spider-Man, Doctor Strange,
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. And
Hulk.
so,
Where's Mark Ruffalo?
people that you thought that they would include. Another thing I didn't like is that they basically spoiled Thunderbolts
Yeah, completely.
before the movie even comes out. We still got 2 months before the movie comes out, and they announced every Thunderbolts member except for Taskmaster, who everyone was already assuming is going to die in the movie.
Everyone thought Red Guardian was dead too, but like, bro, he's alive now.
Yeah,
Like
he's going to be in the movie. So I didn't understand that. And also with the Fox X-Men, wasn't the whole Deadpool and Wolverine thing supposed to be the big send-off? And now you have like Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart in their like upper 80s still playing these characters. Like, are we supposed to be excited?
I'm
I don't know.
I would love to see them again, but the thing is, I don't want them to be the main universe's versions of those characters.
But how
I
many times have we seen Patrick Stewart killed off?
No, I know.
As
I don't
Professor
want
X.
a 90-year-old Magneto, you know? Like I don't want a 50-year-old Nightcrawler. I don't like, you know what I mean? Like I want a new version of these. I love these actors, and I mean Ian McKellen as Magneto is one of my favorite comic book performances of all time, favorite comic book characters. But I would love to see him one more time for sure. But I don't want. I would love a new Magneto to be introduced in this universe at some point. A new Wolverine, a new Professor X, like younger, so they can continue it on. I mean, I don't want 100-year-olds playing these characters forever, bro.
And above all else, what made Infinity War and Endgame so rewarding, both as I'm sure the people behind it who made it, but also even us as fans and moviegoers, is that it wasn't just like a mishmash who's who of cameos and nostalgia grabs. It was a true fulfilling ending to a 10-year arc where all of the characters in it, even if they didn't have a lot of screen time, we seen them. They were, they had stories like the Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, Black Panther. They all had their own movies and established as parts of this universe. And we didn't see them disappear for years at a time before, the big next event. And you're coming in here with Doomsday. You haven't even had an Avengers movie since Endgame. And now you're just going right to Doomsday. And, you're pulling, like, we haven't seen Shang-Chi in over 3 years, right? And you're pulling the old Fox X-Men. And you're pulling this and that. And I just feel like, it's not rewarding because there hasn't been this journey. We're just kind of jumping into it because Marvel wasn't going to do this. They were going to do Kang. And then obviously everything with Jonathan Majors
And he
went
beat
down.
the shit out of a woman, and then it's like allegedly.
I mean, they're just flying by the fucking seat of their pants here. And I just feel like they're trying desperately to get people in the seats. And it's going to get people in the seats, but
He
it's
proved he was a villain.
important.
Like, no, Jonathan Majors proved he was a villain. So, like, what's wrong with, I mean, like.
And also, Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom.
No,
Look,
what are you doing?
He was phenomenal as Tony Stark for many years. And then he's in Oppenheimer. And he's fantastic. And he wins an Oscar. And his whole Oscar campaign is that he's free from the Marvel machine. He can make real movies with real directors again. And he even does the limited series on Max, The Sympathizer with Park Chan-wook, which was really great.
Did you see the first movie he did after, like, Endgame or something? Did you see Dr. Dolittle?
No, I didn't see Dr. Dolittle.
Yo,
okay.
That was one of the worst performances and movies I've seen ever.
All right, forget Dr. Dolittle, though. He was doing Oppenheimer with Chris Nolan. He does The Sympathizer with Park Chan-wook. He talks about being able to work in these types of films again, or in the case of The Sympathizer show. And I, for one, was really excited, as much as I loved him as Iron Man, for this new era where he kind of showcases his different styles of acting with different really well. So for him to go crawling back, not only to Marvel, but to the Russo brothers, how is this supposed to be anything for us to be that excited about? It's nothing that we haven't seen before.
No, and the fact that we had to wait 5 hours for him to be the last reveal when he's the one character we knew was going to be in it the whole time is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so what do you think about... So apparently, Robert Downey Jr. was offered the role of Poseidon in Christopher Nolan's new Odyssey movie, and he turned down the role because of scheduling conflicts with Avengers Doomsday. Tom Holland is also in that movie and apparently has limited screen time in Doomsday, even though he's not announced yet. The rumor is that he has limited screen time in Doomsday because he's filming the Odyssey. So, in one way, I mean, contracts are, of course, an issue. Like, I don't know what was contracted first, contractually obligated to do what. But what it looks like is that Robert Downey Jr. is working on Doomsday and not the Odyssey, and Tom Holland is working on the Odyssey and barely Doomsday. Like, what do you think of that?
I think Tom Holland chose right. I
I
mean,
do too. Like, how
Tom,
do you choose? I mean, Avengers are gonna make
but
bag, but you have so
but
much
you know
money
what the
already.
thing is that Tom Holland hasn't had that role yet. I mean, Spider-Man is great, but it's not that role. I'm talking about the role that like shows everyone he's a serious actor. And I think he has put himself in the prime position. He's working with probably the best filmmaker on the planet right now in what
Agreed.
is bound to be one of the biggest films of the century. You're adapting the great Homer, poem of the Odyssey into a big film. You're doing so. Chris Nolan is taking a cast of all stars around the world on a brand new, never used before IMAX camera, just that they're using for this movie. That Tom Holland is putting himself in prime position to show, hey, I'm the real freaking deal here. I'm not just a funny little guy doing Spider-Man. And so that was the right move. That was the right move. I mean, look, they're both slated to come out next year. I don't know which one's going to make more money. I don't think that's the only way to judge the movie. That's not even the most important thing to me, but that's how a lot of people are going to look at it.
Hmm.
I just think that everyone's going to look at the Odyssey and be more excited. It's different. It's
It's
new.
new.
The cast is insane.
It's something we haven't seen before, and it's something that film lovers have been waiting for. I mean, we've all been waiting for Avengers Doomsday. I mean, back when it was Kang Dynasty, we've all been waiting for it. But like, this is something that I mean, I've been so excited for this movie, bro. Like, I can't even. And I love Tom Holland, and I'm excited for him to get a chance to shine. Like, a lot of people are kind of writing him off as like he's one and done Spider-Man, and that's it, because he hasn't had really great roles outside of Spider-Man. And I love Spider-Man, of course. I mean, Spider-Man is my favorite character of all time. He's my favorite like piece of media of all time. But I would prefer Tom Holland to excel in the Odyssey than to spend his time in Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah, I mean, what's the shelf life with him as Spider-Man moving forward? I mean, even the MCU, the future beyond Doomsday, because if Doomsday and Secret Wars don't work, what's the future? There's gonna be questions of reboots at that point. You know what I mean? I would think so. If you're Tom Holland, you got to think about your career here. Spider-Man put you on the scene, but now you got to take it to the next level, and this is how you do it.
So this leads me into, because we don't have that much time left for this episode, I want to throw at you my surprise segment, okay?
Okay.
I Spider-Man is one of the most iconic characters of all time. I want to see in how many guesses do you think you could name, according to fans, the top 10 most iconic characters of all time?
What is that according to?
Just people voted on a website.
That's vague.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, out of how many guesses do you think you could name the top 10?
I don't know. I'll say 12. Give me room for two mistakes.
12, you get two mistakes, the most iconic fictional characters of all time. And I'm telling you right now, next time we do this, if we get enough like viewers and stuff like that, when we have things like this, there will be punishments.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay, to keep people interested, we're gonna have punishments. But right now, you're in the clear, um, and we'll keep you in the clear right now. But just so you know for next time, all right?
All right.
So
Well,
throw some names at me.
Superman.
Superman is number two, easy, one done, 1 out of 10.
This was your transition, so I'm going to say Spider-Man.
That's number 11. Get fucked. All right, he's not in the top 10. That's two
Well, then
guesses.
that was a shitty transition.
Yeah.
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader's number 8.
I'm going to say Hannibal Lecter.
He's not in the top 10. That's 4
okay.
guesses. You already messed your 2 guesses up.
Well, yeah, now I have to get it perfect.
You have to get a perfect score right now.
Well, if I don't get it wrong, if I don't get it here, then I'm out.
Yeah, you get executed live on television. On Spotify, on YouTube, on TikTok.
First and last episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, folks. Wow, I hate being put on the spot like this.
Yeah.
This is a crazy one. This is no way it's going to be on the list.
Fucked.
Hans Landa.
Who?
All right, no, actually, I'll say Hans Gruber. From
Who?
Never mind, forget
Who
it.
are either of these people?
Give me the list.
No, give me. You go. Throw me. You have to get the number 1 most iconic fictional character of all time.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's Jesus H. Christ, actually.
Just read the list to me. What we got? My phone.
All right. Bro, what? You don't have this thing on the charger?
I don't have a charger over here. Come on.
All right, number 1, Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
All right, it's easy. Number 2, Superman. You got that. Number 3 is Batman.
Okay.
Number 4 is Mario. Number 5 is Bugs Bunny. Number 6 is the Joker. Number 7 is Pikachu. Number 8 is Darth Vader. Number 9 is SpongeBob. And number 10 is James Bond. And then you got number 11 with Spider-Man.
I'm surprised Spider-Man's not on that list.
I am too. He's my favorite superhero of all time. I think he fits in the Mount Rushmore of superheroes.
Well, I do want to segue into our last segment here.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up. This is one that I think we'll do pretty much every week. I would like to. I call it Seesaw. So essentially what this is we're both going to say something, a movie or show that we just saw recently. Normally it'll be in the past week, but since this is the first episode, it could just be recently. And something that you want to see soon. So you saw, you see. I'll go first, if it helps.
I love that name, by the way.
Thank you.
I like compliment that. I love that name.
Yeah.
You
I
saw
came
it,
up
you
with
see it,
like,
you saw.
Like an hour before we started this.
That's great.
So something I saw recently, we were just talking about it at the beginning of the episode, but I had it as my answer for today is Severance, Season 2, because my theme for this week is going to be, and it could be, I will say, it doesn't have to be new releases. It can be anything that you saw and anything you want to see, but I'm keeping it in the theme this week of new releases. So Severance, Season 2, something I saw recently. That's been the big thing, I feel like, this past month in terms of TV shows that everyone's talking about. Chikai Bardos, Season 2, Episode 7 is one of my favorite TV episodes of all time. Jessica Lee Gagne, I hope I'm saying that right. She is the show's director of photography. She directed the episode. It was one of the most incredible directorial debuts you'll ever see.
Wow.
It was just truly breathtaking. But Severance as a whole, it was a great season finale. I said this at the beginning, but props to Ben Stiller, Dan Erickson, Adam Scott, Britt Lauer, all of them involved in this show. It's just so unique. There's so many layers to it. You know, Apple TV is a really underrated service. There's some good things on there. So something that I want to see soon is the new season of Reacher. That just concluded. I have not started it yet. I've seen the first 2 seasons. I love Alan Richardson. He is great in the role. I think it's a really fun, breezy-ish show on Amazon Prime. I have not gotten to season 3 yet, though, so I hope to start that soon.
So I've never seen Severance. I know everyone tells me I should watch it. That's like the new thing. I got it. People do hype it up like it is season 2 has the greatest episode of TV of all time. I know I need to get on it. Reacher season 3 is awesome. I've seen Reacher season 3 just concluded like 3 days ago. It's amazing. We're filming this on like a Saturday, so it just ended on Thursday. This will probably come out Tuesday or Wednesday. We Reacher season 1 was awesome. Season 2 was really not that great. Season 3 gives you season 1 vibes. So I totally recommend Reacher season 3. It's on Amazon Prime. Definitely go check it out. Something I saw recently was Death of a Unicorn. I just saw that yesterday. It's fine. You know, I mean, it's nothing I'm like excited to tell you about. Like, it's okay. Death of a Unicorn. It's fun. It's stupid, but it kind of takes itself too seriously. Like, there are good jokes. Will Poulter and Anthony Carrigan stand out so much as like the comedic relief, both of them. And everyone else is like taking things too seriously, and it's just their characters. It's not the actors, but it's like everything is just taking it's too serious for a movie about unicorns like murdering people. And also, the ending of the movie is one of the worst endings I've ever seen in my life. So I will throw that out there. I gave it 3 stars, I think, on my Letterboxd. It's not great. It's fine. I would recommend seeing it once, and I will never rewatch it again. And something I want to see is Happy Gilmore. So Happy Gilmore 2 is coming out and in July, I think, and I've never seen the original, and I'm actually in the second one. So I filmed as a background actor in the second movie in like 3 or 4 scenes. And I've never seen the first one, and they actually asked us when we were filming, they were like, are you guys fans of the first movie? And everyone was cheering, and I was like, yeah, I love that movie.
You fraud.
I was such a fraud. I felt so awkward being like, I've never seen it, because everyone around me was either lying like I was, or they were like the biggest Adam Sandler fans. And I love Adam Sandler, he's great, but I was like, I've never seen this movie. I've never seen a lot of Sandler movies. I've never seen The Waterboy, I've never seen Happy Gilmore, I've never seen whatever else is in.
The Cobbler.
I did actually saw like half The Cobbler. But that's terrible.
That's my boy.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Dude, Grown Ups. I grew up on Grown Ups, dude. But no, I'm in the second movie, so I thought I need to see the first one before the second one comes out. Yeah, so if you're watching Happy Gilmore 2, look out for Golf Spectator number 246.
Wow,
Look out for him.
246.
A couple scenes in, I'm in a scene with Bad Bunny and Sandler and Haley Joel Osment, so watch out for that. I actually don't know if he's even announced to be in that movie yet, so I might have just broken my contract with Netflix because I did sign some stuff. So I'm sure the movie's coming out. Haley Joel Osment's in that movie, so he's coming out. It's coming out soon. Anyway, that's my movie I need to see, and I saw Death of a Unicorn yesterday. So
very exciting, great times. We look forward to continuing this podcast, assuming anyone out there in the void is interested in hearing what we have to say. But yeah, we really enjoyed it. This is the Box Office Dynasty. I'm going to come at you every week with things like this, where we're just going to shoot the shit. What do you feel about it?
Yeah, we're gonna try and do like a weekly release schedule. I mean, just get these episodes out, like grind them out, just talk about what we're feeling, new releases, everything, new TV shows, things that are coming out. And even if stuff's not coming out, we're just gonna hang out and talk. We're gonna do whatever we do.
There's always something to talk about,
Exactly.
And the two of us can talk our damn heads off. So
yeah.
We look forward to bringing all of you the best in film, in television, in life itself, maybe a little bit of the worst of it too. We're really excited about this. This is hopefully the start of something really special, or maybe the start of nothing at all, but there's only one way to find out.
And we're going to do it regardless. So
that's head first.
Follow us on TikTok and Spotify and YouTube at Box Office Dynasty, and we'll be around. And if you like this episode, shoot us a DM, give us a like, whatever you want to do. You know what? We're here to live. We're doing what we do. So we like movies. We're going to talk about them. If you want to listen, awesome. We love it. We love you. Not a weird way, but maybe. I mean,
in a platonic podcaster to podcast listener way.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit more if you're into that, but maybe not. I don't know.
Well, maybe, you got to be a guest on it.
You have to be a guest. Yeah.
Well, all right. Until next time.
All right. Peace.